We don't give just to get, but it would be nice if somebody thought of you, right? Like it would be nice.
Well,
Especially when,
it's what is it? It's a two-way street.
yeah, especially when we're talking about movies for Thanksgiving and I get this suggestion behind me.
Well, I was giving a lot to the both of you for different movies, and I thought to myself, I needed some dumb blood, maybe some nudity horror movie. And what I got was ThanksKillings, which I feel works perfectly for us right now.
I mean,
And
you got boobs in the first 5 seconds.
yeah, I mean,
It's
I
on the cover.
Well, I
I'm
had
go-
started last night. I started it, no, the night before.
Hmm.
Because I had to put it on so it would be on my queue and I could just go on, like, continue watching. And the tit just pops right up. And I'm just like, oh, they weren't lying to me.
No.
The
And
tits
then
did
she
not match
says,
the face, did they?
excuse me, please
Oh.
have some respect for Wanda Lust.
Yeah,
Um, that's her name.
I know.
And then Aid was like, I'll let y'all guys know how I feel after I finish it tomorrow. And I was like, after you finish it tomorrow, it's an hour and 6 minutes. Like how long is it taking you to watch this movie?
Oh my god, that's hilarious. Well, speaking of how long it is, it's actually only 70 minutes, so it's actually not too bad. This is an actually cool American independent black comedy slasher film, is what they kind of so-called give it. It didn't do too well on Rotten Tomatoes, which I think it was like at like
Oh my.
yeah,
It's not certified fresh.
yeah, not really, not even by the people who watched it. Um, but that being said, honestly, like it's a fun movie, like regardless. But it was written and directed by Jordan Downey. It's also co-written by Brad Swartz, Tony Wilson, Garrett.
Schultz.
Is it Schultz? Oh, Schultz. My bad. And
Mhm.
Garrett. I don't know how to say his last name. You wanna?
Smith.
Yeah,
Grant
I'm just
Yaffe.
kidding.
Grant Yaffe.
Yaffe. Okay, and then Kevin Stewart. But other than that, I got a couple of negative reviews. It was it was a critically acclaimed movie here. Um,
Well, it's
it
not supposed to be. This is actually a very popular movie. Jake loves it,
oh yeah,
which
no.
I that's why I have it, is the only reason because they people talked about it. But anyway,
Well,
continue.
Lance, what year did it come out in?
It supposedly was actually finished shooting in 2006. But then definitely came out later on in 2008, like December 8th of 2008. But then it also says 2009. This is like the DVD release of it. So I think it just went straight to DVD slash, I guess, streaming. That would be the basic idea of it.
I saw it in IMAX.
Oh,
But
yeah,
no,
yeah.
I didn't.
Oh, I was gonna say, I was like, wow, okay.
I
But
would
no,
say that 2008 is probably the
I would
consensus.
I was asking because I can tell you the reason why I saw this movie is because I'm just a whore for holiday horror movies.
Right,
And I use the term horror loosely, like just
right.
whatever, and we don't have this, if you think about it, ThanksKilling, we don't have any other horror movies that take place on Thanksgiving except for Blood Rage, but you wouldn't know unless you watch Blood Rage because it's not like Black Christmas, it's not like Thanksgiving, it's not like these movies that are named after a day.
The
And so
holidays,
I
yeah.
yeah, I think I actually saw it at what's it called? CD Exchange. And I was like, the fuck is that? And I looked at it and I was like, this looks terrible, but I really like holiday horror, so I'm gonna give it a whirl. And ever since then, that's the good thing about being so short is that I can watch this annually and anally and
Hmm.
not be bothered.
I know. I mean, I don't even know what to say. I'm like, yes.
I don't it listen, this didn't bother me. To me, this was more of a time capsule because, I dressed like the little skanky girl. I had that outfit, dressed like
But
her, had the
no.
same hair. I was probably just like her. Doesn't matter. Like it did take me back. It was a time for me, this was a time capsule because I remembered looking like that. Like I love watching early 2000s schlocky horror movie because it's not like we have like a wardrobe. So everyone's wearing whatever you have at the time, right? And
Puka
like this,
shell. There's a puka
yeah,
shell in there.
there's a puka shell. Was there
Was
a
it Johnny's the football player, the quarterback?
collar popped?
Yeah, the 40-year-old football player in
Yeah,
college.
yeah.
Uh,
That's
But
so
it's also like I have no umbrage of you calling this a black comedy because this is a black comedy, folks. Like I was laughing. I watched it again. I forgot if it was 2 days ago or yesterday. But I was
mm,
laughing. And like I don't know if y'all remember, I've watched Cabin Fever many, many times, but the beginning is very Cabin Fever, but they're going on spring break. I don't know if they did it on purpose, but even like the same kind of car that they're in and like the friend dynamics, and he's like, Thanksgiving break, and he even like one of the girls fucks up and she's like, spring break, and everyone's like, it's not spring break, it's Thanksgiving. She's like, oh. Um, it did, like even some of the lines are very similar, and I was like, huh, I wonder if this is like a little parody on Cabin Fever beginning.
I mean, true. Yeah.
it it could have been.
Just to let everybody know, basically the idea for this movie in general is basically everybody going on, like 5 students from college going on a Thanksgiving vacation. The main objective towards the turkey in general is basically that a Native American put a curse on some pilgrims, shockingly, which you kind of see the first pilgrim to die was a breasted woman running through the forest to be murdered by said turkey. But in general, like I guess it's kind of like, you know, he like a I guess what it was, a zombie turkey basically, or necromanced a turkey, the Indian uh
He's a deadite.
yeah, Deadite. Native American decides to kind of, hey, you know what? Let's make a turkey come back. Let's ruin Thanksgiving for all the white people, basically. You know what I mean? Murder them all. I mean, none of these people are ethnic in any way in this college group.
No.
So it's definitely a fuck the white people scenario. Let's kill them all. Like,
Well, I
and
think this was made during the time when people started being like, Christopher Columbus wasn't that good of a guy.
yeah,
Like, maybe we shouldn't be celebrating this. Maybe those paintings of the natives and the pilgrims eating joyfully together isn't right. And so I think, because this movie, it kind of gives you like a little bit of story, but it just leaves you to fill in the blanks that like white people fucked up. This is an angry Native American spirit that inhabited a turkey.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Going on a killing spree. And I just think it's really beautiful social commentary how we open up with the pilgrimess's breasts just out, and we think about turkeys and on the Thanksgiving table just murdered there with their breasts strewn out like that. And it was just, I couldn't help but really applaud the filmmakers for that. I forgot
Yeah.
what it's called. Juxtaposition, contraception, whatever.
Juxtaposition.
Oh my God, Lance. The juxtaposition.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And that's my issue, I think, that I do take umbrage with this is that
That's your one issue, huh?
there is no rhyme or reason except just to have a pair of tits there. Like she's running away. Why are her tits out? What's going on?
Oh, it's fine. I already told you. Social commentary on a
Social
turkey.
commentary, of course. And that's the thing. It's like I don't think that the movie was horrible, so to speak. I think the turkey is really what sucks for the turkey's lines, I should say. Because
I
my
mean,
favorite my favorite
it
part
was
is the
flirty.
ending.
Don't
I
you
mean,
like Freddy
come
Krueger?
on. Yeah, it was basically Freddy in a turkey body.
It was a puppet, some guy doing this in a puppet head.
And actually,
I cannot.
our writer and director is actually the voice
I
of
believe it.
upset
I
turkey.
didn't.
So,
I
And
wouldn't. I fucking
shockingly,
believe that.
he's pretty
shockingly,
hot too.
you know
Oh,
what?
he
He's
wasn't
actually
one of the
decent
guys
looking.
in the movie, though, right?
No.
No.
Who was that? What was the point of that nasty ass friend with his boogers and his? Oh God!
Wait, which one are we talking about here? The
When
nerdy
Yeah,
guy?
they
the big one or the nerdy one?
the not even the big one. The big one was gross looking, but his friend is like, "Oh, that's so and so is coming over." Um,
It was giving me very gay vibes in the beginning.
Darren,
Uh,
was it
Hey, what was your
Darren?
ice creams
I
later
don't
on?
know. It was
Let's be
the
honest.
three guys. What were their names? Who was the one who died and they did a whole song about him?
Oh, that was Johnny? No, Johnny was the football
Johnny
player.
was the football player. We have Allie, we have Kristen,
Darren?
Billy. Billy.
Okay.
I was making the pumpkin bread yesterday and I'm fucking singing that stupid song because like I realized like I like was picking up like every word with friend was gonna rhyme with friend. I'm singing this song in the kitchen. I'm like, this is my life. That's what's happening.
Funny.
No, but Darren, I think Darren's the nasty, weird, the one who says he's gonna fuck one of the girls in the car, and she's
Oh
like,
yeah.
no, I'm
Well,
not
he didn't say
true.
girls. He said, "I'm gonna
He's
fuck somebody in this car."
somebody in the car. I was like, there
Yeah.
it is. That's why him and Billy were such close friends.
Yeah,
Hmm.
probably. Oh, I
But
get
also
it
like
now.
the most the most unlikely group of friends, like football player stud, fat country guy, slutty girl who has a crush on the football player, nerdy girl that the football player likes, and the nerdy friend of the fat guy.
I mean, would you say the girl's technically like the girl next door type version? So the nerdy guy, girl next door, slut girl, fat hillbilly guy.
We don't slut shame on this podcast.
Oh
She's an
well.
adventurous woman.
I mean, I was going with what you
Uh,
said.
yeah. Did I say slut? I said slutty.
Oh,
There's a difference.
my bad.
Uh, um, it was just very strange, especially because I thought, because it's been a while
Mikey,
since
it's
I've seen it.
2008. She's a promiscuous girl.
Promiscuous girl.
Wherever you are. This was a time capsule.
I
Anyway.
know.
Well, here it is.
We love Nelly Furtado on this podcast. You can catch her in Wrong Turn. But that's a reference to that episode where I thought Nelly Furtado was the friend.
I was like, wow,
Um,
go back, kids. You'll all see what we're talking about.
yep. But I thought for some reason I thought Johnny was dating one of the girls, but no, he's like not dating either of them, and they both like him. And I was like, that's weird. What do they do? Host a horror podcast together? And so because I just like I don't understand why they would just be all hanging out together, but I guess.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it just seems like one of those weird collective of like college students that all like decided to go. I mean, do they maybe because they all live it seems in the same I guess area. So maybe that's why they're just all friends because they all are different, but they live in the same town because basically they all live next to each other.
It's just the typical horror trope of people.
Yeah. Gotta have some kind of college jock guy.
That's a good trope though, Mikey. Thank you for mentioning that.
Yes.
You're welcome. It's very Cabin in the Woods. The whole thing. I think Cabin in the Woods actually stole from this.
Well, yeah, and that's my well, so it's interesting because in real life, most people are not really, yeah, we all kind of are like in the same whatever, but you'll have groups of people that are very different, right? And so I think that it kind of took on that like, in real life, you have people who like this, you have people like that, and everyone's just friends and hanging out. Not everybody's the same. Not everybody has the same. It's not high school. It's not high school
Like
where
a
everybody has a
small
clique.
town.
Yeah, but small towns do that though, right? I mean, that's pretty much like just how your vibe goes.
But at the
Yeah.
same time, like with at that time, especially at that time, my God, in 2008, like everybody had their purpose.
Yeah.
And guys and girls weren't friends back then. You couldn't be. Like you just weren't.
Yeah, look what happens.
I
Taylor Swift
know.
comes after you.
Exactly. And so, I think it was like I said, it's more of a commentary and indicative of the time that it was made because I can't like I had a boyfriend back then. My God, if I knew a fucking man in my life, it was a whole ordeal. God forbid you can't be friends with, and this is the reason why a lot of us like have a lot of my girlfriends and I would hang out with gay men because at least we could just hang out with them and it would like bother us about it, right?
Yeah.
And we all have the same interests anyway.
I mean, unless you're hanging out with a gay man that's from like Raw.
Well, we all like it raw.
Adrian. Yeah, I know. Well,
Well, that's why you hang out with me and Lance. So
Mikey's t-shirt, a hole is a hole. So there you go.
Oof, there it
that's
is.
what Lance told me. That's not my t-shirt.
But going with the idea of the movie so far, where like they end up going so far, they end up having to camp out because the car breaks down. They have their first encounter with the turkey, but before that happens, how do you guys feel about the, I guess, kind of like the ongoing character, which is the guy and the dog, and the guy gets his dog killed, which another movie again where we have a dog being murdered or some pet being murdered, which seems very sad on our end that we've somehow picked another movie. I've picked another movie that goes along with what you've already picked, but
just another horror trope, I guess. It's a cheap tug at the heartstrings, but also it was very stupid.
yeah.
It's not like it was believable. Like I Which is kind of funny also because Cabin Fever also starts off with a guy and his dog. I wonder if Cabin Fever was an inspiration for this movie, minus the whole disease thing.
I
But
like it when the animal gets away though. Like it's like kind of like the 80s version of the Blob, where the homeless guy, the dog's like, nope, I'm out.
I mean, I don't like these movies, but spoiler alert, the cat's fine in The Quiet Place day one. And I was like,
Yeah.
you go, girl. That's the only thing I liked about that movie. Um, I don't know. I think they weren't really a huge part of it. Maybe it felt like it because the movie is so short. But I think I'm the biggest surprise watching it. This is probably like my sixth time watching it. It's just that I didn't remember how funny it was.
Oh
Like
yeah.
when he's like, Jesus, woman, did you shit in the coffee? I was like, oh, Abe would have done that.
I know. She's like,
Yes, I
did.
did. And then it shows it.
The sheriff's like a little good. Actually, let's talk about that. Who technically out of this whole movie is your kind of your favorite character that's not in the five? Let's say
Besides the turkey.
yeah.
Um, the turkey is amazing.
Yeah.
Because and I think the only other character that you really can like, not can like, but that gets enough love is the sheriff dad.
Yeah, the sheriff. Yeah.
Because also, I remember, okay, I may have been a little bit under something the first time I watched this movie.
Oh, what?
Not a man, but a
Oh.
recreational type environment. Not a playground either.
Drugs are bad, kids.
Yeah. No, but when the turkey kills the dad, spoiler alert, it's been over 10 years. And he wears his face.
Oh, I
He
know.
answers the door, and the girl's just like, hey, dad, I lost it. Like, if you didn't think this movie wasn't taking itself seriously to begin with, this is the point where it's like, this is a turkey wearing
And
this
the face
guy's
is like 10 times
face.
smaller. Yeah.
He's like, oh, I can't. I, uh, hey,
Hey,
show this movie to your students, please. We need their feedback.
hey, how do you feel? Like, who's your favorite character outside of?
No, I liked the sheriff. I liked the dad of the chick. Is that the sheriff or
Yeah,
no?
that's the sheriff. That's the sheriff.
Yeah, no, I
There's
liked
also
him.
the football player's dad too.
Yeah.
Oh my God, no,
And
the mom was the
yeah.
best. Where he's like, dad won't speak to me anymore, and because I
2 weeks
I I
ago.
lost whatever, and she goes, that was 2 weeks ago. That
Well,
was
also,
so fucking dumb. Of course, again, I was cooking. I did what? Listen, I am not gonna lie. I listened to the whole movie. I probably didn't see much of it. I just because the way the house is, my TV, I can't really.
Oh my god.
But yeah, well, no, after the whole titty incident and then watching that guy's gut hanging out and then the guy with the boogers, I'm like, I don't need to look at any of this anymore. I'm good.
I think even though it starts off that way, I think that's the only pair of tits you actually see in the movie.
Yeah,
Uh,
other than the one girl
No,
who
there's
collapses when she has
really no nudity, even when she's getting fucked by the turkey.
well, the guy in the
Basted.
turkey, but yes. Basted, yes, very much so
Yeah,
basted.
very Hannah Montana, best of both worlds. Which fun trivia, the guy who plays the guy that has sex with her was the cinematographer. Which I'm not sure how deep your research is or if you're planning on talking about it later, but what the director and that cinematographer have done up to today, very impressive. But I'll let you continue.
Oh,
There's
really? Yeah, I
there's
did.
no later. We have an hour and we're almost there.
I don't want to throw off his flow. He has stuff he wants
No,
to do.
no, no. I mean, it's good. I mean, we'll talk about that in a few. But outside of that, what was like your all like your favorite kill? because this is actually out of all the movies we've gotten, we've actually had more kills in this one than all of the movies put together that we've watched this month.
Well, if I can go first, the booger guy in the kitchen at the end, I was like, well, thank God somebody killed him because I don't give a fuck. Like, he was gross and the way he died, I loved it. It was bloody. He was in the kitchen. And I loved how the other two were passed out, sleeping. Like, huh? Like, oh, my
Yeah.
parents are dead, but now I gotta get a girlfriend and we're just gonna, run through the fields and be excited, whatever. And they didn't even hear this guy getting fucking like filleted in the kitchen by this. And the turkey at this point is supernatural. It's got this green light coming out of it. I don't even
It got
know.
shot to a toxic waste dump, so he's very Toxie Avenger style right now.
Mhm.
At that point in time.
Which, by the way, they weren't planning on using that toxic waste can until they found it on set. Now,
Nice.
my favorite kill, even though the one Ade mentioned was good, my favorite kill, just because it made me laugh, was the football player's dad. How his head just like falls off on the bench when they're having their
Tossing it to
sentimental
him.
talk. Go long.
That's stupid.
Nice.
But also, I was a little because I remember it being funny whenever the turkey was having sex with the girl. But I was like, oh, he just snapped her neck, even though I think he just like moved, and she was like, uh,
Yeah, that felt cheap. I was like, I was kind of upset with that one. I'm like, really? You had all
What
this
did
thing?
he said she was stuffed or
yeah,
something?
you've been stuffed.
Yeah.
Yeah, Freddy Krueger as a turkey. I told you.
Yeah. That's so funny. I honestly I thought it was kind of funny how Billy ends up getting it, or at least the most gruesome, where it was like he makes him believe he's eating a turkey, and I'm assuming he made him eat him, and then he blew out his stomach through the like insides or whatever. And then like the gun comes out of him and everything. I'm like, I don't know how you got that in there or how he devoured that situation, or I'm not even 100% sure how it went down. But it was like I'm here for it. Fuck it. I mean, where we at in this movie, it doesn't matter. Like,
Yeah, this movie is very much like I felt like Doug could have made this movie because
Yeah.
when he gets picked up by the hitchhiker, he's like, ass, grass, or cash. And the turkey's like, well, I don't have any grass or cash, so I guess it's ass. And he like puts his little turkey butt up or whatever. And the guy's like getting ready to, and he turns around with this huge shotgun. Oh, it's so good.
yeah.
Eli Roth could never. He tried.
No.
Oh my god.
It hits all the marks, and you see movies and you're like, oh, this probably is just a guy who just likes doing this kind of cheesy stuff, just wants to you know be like a little choma or whatever. But it turns out the joke was on us because he made this movie. It took a while to get notoriety, but because like no one wanted to distribute it, so they had to just distribute it themselves, which I'm like, Troma really should have distributed this. But I also heard that like a lot of people don't like to go with Troma because they don't get the best returns, allegedly. uh but I don't know. I don't know what it could have been. But what happens is they make this movie, and then you told me that they crowdfunded for the third one. The third one
Yeah.
is, if I remember correctly, I haven't finished the third one, but the third one is not great. Not that this one's amazing, but this one's at least entertaining. But and also, just so everybody knows, there's no second one. It goes from 1 to 3. We don't know why.
Yeah.
So but they made this movie, and then after they made the third one, they were like, you'll be surprised to see what the creator of ThanksKilling does next. And so I was waiting and waiting, and he made a movie on Shudder that you can watch called The Headhunter, I believe.
Hmm.
Let me see. I think that's what it's called. Um, so Jordan Downey is the director, and he's a little cutie patootie. He made The Headhunter, which is amazing. And it's about like, I don't know what time period it is, but it's like this like Viking looking guy. He's like a monster hunter, and the effects are great, like really good budget. It's a really good movie if you ever want to catch it on Shutter. Not cheesy, not comedic at all. And so I was like, huh, that's a weird change. And the most recent thing that we've seen him in, Lance,
Mm.
is the first entry of VHS Beyond with that big bird thing.
Oh, that makes sense. The big bird.
That's him.
And the funny too is they did the Kickstarter for ThanksKilling 3, and it actually made $112,000 in 248. Like it like for a Kickstarter, because obviously it got very popular and notoriety, just in like the underground scene. I mean, the fact that the first movie was only done for 3,500, you know what I mean? And you had a Kickstarter to make a sequel to that, regardless of the name of it. You know what I mean? That's pretty impressive. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's really cool. And again, I love promoting indie movies like this, and in any sense, slasher, black comedy, like this is kind of quoted as being, it's kind of cool. I mean, I love that about our show, that we do that, you know what I mean? Like where we spotlight some of these things, so it's really cool. And in the end run, what did you guys both think? And then we'll close it off and get ourselves out of here.
I mean, I love it. I think it's a easy 3.5 out of 5 stars.
Out of 10?
No, out of 5. I would give it more, but there is obvious flaws to it. But you get so much credit by entertaining me.
Yeah. 8?
It was fine.
That's it. That's your.
She's a 4 out of 5. It was.
I know. It was
the thing is I tried just enjoying it, but it was just it was one of those things where everything was coming to a head that day, so it was really hard for me to just like listen to it, get to it, deal with everything I had to do with it. But I mean, I feel like that was to its detriment. Also, though, I don't. With something like this, I wanted something a little bit more. Like it could be cheesy and whatever. I wanted it to be a little bit more gross. So like if there was more like the ending kill, I think I would have been happier with it. But that's what it is.
Yeah. I mean, I obviously picked it, so I'm a fan. Even though this is actually my first time getting to see it, I've always had it on my list. You always see it and you're kind of like, oh man, this looks like it's gonna be ridiculously funny and great. It's a bad good. You know what I mean? It honestly is. I would definitely give it probably about the same as Mikey, 3.5. It's just, you know what I mean? Obviously, it's still bad in the degrees that it's bad in, but I mean, sometimes you don't know if that's going to be it's self-induced bad or it literally is bad, and they tried their best.
I mean, let's put it this way. I have a lot of movies, and I've been thinking about getting rid of the ones that I plan never to watch again. I have this box set with Thanksgiving 3, and I will be keeping this movie.
Nice.
So I at least plan on watching it a few more times before I die.
Well, awesome. I thought at the end of the first one, the second one said it was going to be in space. So we are not in space.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
Maybe someday.
We might be doing this movie for our Patreon fans. If you want to be a part of our Patreon, maybe you'll find out. Gotta get part of the group. Get with the Goons. Yeah. Well, that being said, that was awesome. I enjoyed it. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it as much as you possibly could. And now on to our favorite part, or their favorite part of me saying the last part of the things.
There goes the moment of my month.